Namaskar. In this video, we are going to learn how to draw the auditory system from an audiological perspective. Okay, if you see here, a bit of the external ear has been done. So we have the helix part of it. We have the anti-helix part of it also drawn out. If we add on a few anatomical structures, then we get two structures. One is known as the scaphoid fossa, other the triangular fossa. If we add one more structure, that is the crura of the helix, then we get in two parts out of one major section known as the concha. This is the concha part of it. We need to know about it because this specifically enhances the high frequency sounds and is essential landmark to fit in the ear molds, the swing plugs and the noise protective devices. So we have the concha divided into two parts, the cymba concha and the cavum concha. The most important part, this part of the ear, that's the tragus. So this completes out the basic structure of the external ear. As we go further, the next part is the external auditory meatus. It is a S-shaped cavity, 2/3 bony, 1/3 cartilaginous. Then as we go further, the final boundary of the external ear is the tympanic membrane in green. So here is the tympanic membrane, which is the border to the external ear. Beyond it, we have the middle ear. So we'll make the middle ear cavity first. The middle ear cavity is a 6-walled cavity. It consists of 3 bones, malleus, incus and stapes. It has the eustachian tube which connects the middle ear to the pharynx. It has the orbitus and the antrum and the mastoid air cells above it. So we'll put in a few air cells to indicate the mastoid air cells. The major infrastructures or the things which are there in the middle ear include 3 bones, malleus, incus and stapes. This is the malleus, which gets connected to the tympanic membrane. Gets connected to the tympanic membrane, head of the malleus. To the head of the malleus is connected another bone known as the incus. So the pink color bone is the bone known as the incus, and this incus in turn connects itself to the smallest bone of the body known as the stapes. So this is the stapes. This gets connected to the stapes, which is connected or which sits down on a window known as the oval window. This is the oval window on which stapes sits down. The next part of the ear begins from there, and the next part of the ear is known as the inner ear. The inner ear has 2 basic parts. One part for controlling out the balance or the vestibular sense. So the vestibular sense has a vestibuli, 3 semicircular canals. So semicircular canal number 1, semicircular canal number 2, and semicircular canal number 3. So it has 3 semicircular canals, 1 vestibuli, 3 semicircular canals, 1 vestibuli. These are enlarged and are known as ampullae, and a cochlea attached to it. So the entire part is known as the inner ear. The vestibuli, which is in orange, and the cochlea, which is in yellow. So this cochlea has 2 3/4 turns. 1 turn, 2 turns and let's say 3/4 turns. So the cochlea has 2 3/4 turns, and the vestibuli has, the vestibular system has the vestibuli and the semicircular canals. So the oval window comes and fixes itself to the vestibular portion of the inner ear. So we have the middle ear bones, oval window getting connected to the inner ear at the vestibuli. Then we have this cochlea. The cochlea is the end organ of hearing, because at this location the mechanical vibrations get translated into electrical impulses. So once the electrical impulses are done, we need to get the electrical impulses carried forward. So these electrical impulses are carried forward by the auditory nerve, which enters the internal auditory meatus. This is the internal auditory meatus. It enters into the internal auditory meatus, and as the nerve comes out of the internal auditory meatus, it goes into the central auditory pathway. The first nuclei would be the cochlear nucleus. The second nuclei would be the superior olivary complex. The third nerve nuclei would be the lateral lemniscus. The fourth would be the inferior colliculus. The fourth would be the inferior colliculus, medial geniculate body, and the final would be the auditory cortex. So if we draw it, then the nerve comes in to the cochlear nucleus, goes up to the next nerve nuclei known as the superior olivary complex, lateral lemniscus, inferior colliculus, medial geniculate body, and then to the auditory cortex. 90% of the fibers from the cochlear nucleus would be going to the opposite side. This is how the ascending pathway looks like. There is a descending pathway which comes down from the auditory cortex to the inferior colliculus to the superior olivary complex to the cochlear nucleus, to the cochlea, and to the middle ear. So there is the ascending pathway which goes up and the descending pathway. The vibrations which are sent in by the stapes bone go through the oval window. They vibrate the fluid inside the cochlea and the vestibular system. They need to be ventilated out for vibrations to go in and come out. So there is another window known as the round window. This round window fixes up here, the vibration go in, vibrate, and get ventilated from the round window. This is the way it can be drawn out. Just to recapitulate it, I'll be drawing it in the opposite side. We draw this as the external ear. The external ear, as it is shown, we have the helix. Then we have a triangular portion here. This portion is the anti-helix. Then we have a void here known as the concha. We have the tragus out here and the lobule here. As we go in, we have the external auditory meatus, which is a S-shaped curve. It ends out at the tympanic membrane. The tympanic membrane is connected to the bone which is known as malleus, the bone in yellow, which in turn is connected to something known as the incus in pink, and then to the smallest bone of the body known as the stapes. These are connected out. This is the middle ear cavity with the mastoid air cells above it. The eustachian tube which comes to the nasopharynx, Then we have this cochlea, which is a 2 3/4 turn mechanism and a part of the inner ear. And we have the vestibular system as well here. From here comes out the internal auditory meatus, which ends up at the cochlear nucleus, which is in the location of the medulla and the pons. So this is the cochlear nucleus, goes up to the point known as the superior olivary complex or the SOC, then goes up to lateral lemniscus, then goes up to inferior colliculus, and then to the medial geniculate body, and then to the auditory cortex. There is a lot of crossover at the level of the SOC and at the level of inferior colliculus. Once it goes to the auditory cortex, there is a descending pathway as well, so which comes back from the auditory cortex to the inferior colliculus to the superior auditory complex, superior auditory complex to the cochlear nucleus, cochlea, and the middle ear. This is a very simplified way to draw the auditory system. Thanks for watching.